to Pleasure Pulse, your weekly guide to the world of sex education. Join Roma every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. exclusively on Zolized Radio 96.1 FM. It's the perfect way to spice up your midweek routine and get answers to all your burning questions. Whether you're looking for relationship advice or curious about the art of intimacy, Roma's got you covered. Pleasure Pulse, every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Only on Zolized Radio 96.1 FM. Don't miss out. Your sex education journey starts this Tuesday with Roma as your guide. Educational as it is entertaining. Welcome to Pleasure Pulse, your weekly guide to the world of sex education. Join Roma every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. exclusively on Zolized Radio 96.1 FM. It's the perfect way to spice up your midweek routine and get answers to all your burning questions. Whether you're looking for relationship advice or curious about the art of intimacy, Roma's got you covered. Pleasure Pulse, every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Only on Zolized Radio 96.1 FM. Don't miss out. Your sex education journey starts this Tuesday with Roma as your guide.
Roma Richardson, and I'm so happy to have you joining me here tonight for another conversation. But as usual, before we get into tonight's discussion and before I ask my guest to introduce herself, I like to take a little break at the top of the show just so everybody can let everybody else know that Pleasure Pulse is alive. So we'll do that and then come back and get into tonight's discussion. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Pleasure Pulse. You're tuned into ZIZ on radio and on social media, on YouTube and on Facebook. And I'm your host, Roma Richardson. I'm so happy that we're here for another Tuesday, another opportunity to talk about sex and something. So, today we're talking about sex and rape culture, and my guest here, she's not new to the show, but maybe here in a slightly different capacity. So, please introduce yourself.
Okay, good night, everyone. My name is Trinaya Douglas, and I'm here representing as just a gender advocate tonight.
My little gender friend.
Friend.
Things happen, and then I'm like, what do you think about this? Which kind of inspired tonight's conversation. I mean, I'm going to it, but we were looking at a discussion that was happening and some of the themes that came out. So I said, why don't we talk about this broader conversation? Rape culture is part of it. I didn't want to say sex and rape culture and patriarchy and all of them things.
Right.
But so I said, let's keep it as sex and rape culture, but ground it in its broader context. And of course, that context, a huge part of it, that connection, is to patriarchy. And I know a lot of people ain't like that P word.
No, they don't.
It's like, patriarchy again.
Again.
And, I think when people talk about patriarchy, it's usually like a more academic conversation, to be honest. It ain't really seep into everyday conversations as such. But that's like our responsibility to let people know how much this system affects all of us, not just women, especially women, but all of us. So, rape culture. What is rape culture in the first place?
Well, for me, I kind of look at rape culture as something, rape being normalized or excused in the media and popular culture, in language, in just different aspects and forms of life. It's just, I wouldn't say an ignorance, but I guess it's also a lack of education mixed into socialization of what we see, what we hear, and what we assume is considered the norm in society in relation to different aspects of rape or what would fall under rape, and not always in the literal sense.
Yeah. I appreciate that you brought in language, because language is a huge part of how ideas about rape are sustained. I think oftentimes, like we were just talking, and I learned that you are Gen Z and not a millennial. So I don't.
You put me out there.
I don't remember. I can't remember the years. I know it was in primary school that the threat of the greasy man was okay. So it wasn't in your era. You probably. Maybe you were in preschool or younger or something. But there was this greasy man, and the greasy man was, I think, maybe a serial rapist. And, people used to be like, oh, don't let the greasy man and the greasy man and the greasy man here. We're talking about here.
Okay.
So I think sexual assault was always seen as this, like, dark alley, late at night, stranger, you play a part in your own protection, you had to keep yourself safe, kind of thing that people still think about when they think about sexual assault, like is going to involve other types of physical violence. It's going to happen, from somebody you don't know. It's going to be something where, like, you could have chosen differently. And I did have a question about that, because it also connects to how people kind of think that only certain people commit sexual assaults. Is that true?
I don't believe that is a specific group, but in terms of people thinking or looking at rape almost as something very far away from themselves or outside of their bubble, because of the misconception of people well, not every woman, specifically woman would experience that in their lifetime, but 1 in 3 women have experienced some form of sexual assault, and believe it or not, it usually tends to be somebody you know rather than somebody you don't know. It's usually never really a stranger, to be honest. So it's actually more prevalent that it's somebody that's closer to you than it just happening randomly. So that's one of the misconceptions. But in terms of the type of persons, what would you be referring to?
Well, I think that like you had to be one. I think it's that you are sexually deprived.
Okay.
I also said depraved as in like maybe you have some, okay, no, I shouldn't say depraved. Forget depraved. Maybe you have some social issues. Maybe you have some issues connecting with people. You're somebody who is maybe strange to other folks. You are somebody who, don't get girls, boys, whatever it is.
Okay.
It's people don't usually think of it as like popular.
Yeah.
People.
Okay. No, I see what you mean.
People who got money, as people who are attractive.
Right.
See people who in relationships, right? So it's like, I think folks sometimes like have a certain type in their mind for like who perpetrates.
I mean, the human mind always creates an idea of what makes sense to them.
Yeah.
When they hear certain descriptive words. And I think that I like that you bring up this point too, because we often think, and I guess it's the beauty bias, attractive person bias. I think that plays a big role because we think that somebody is attractive. Pretty privileged. We assume all the positive attributes to them because they look good, except it's like what's the halo effect. So they think that you have one because I'm an honest person, that means I'm kind. I have other positive attributes versus, I don't remember the opposite. I don't know if it was like the devil, whatever. But yeah, like that's pretty much what like most people would attribute. So I feel like when you see somebody attractive, oh no, that person can be a rapist.
If they're an upstanding citizen, a politician, a pastor, a family person.
Yeah, but then the question that needs to be asked is, what do people consider as rape? Do they think rape is equivalent to sex? Because I personally don't view rape as sex. I see it as control, a control issue. Because there's nothing about that as loving, caring, intentionally positive about it. Consensual. Like, it's not a consensual act. It's pure violence. So that's why I'm like, when people are like, oh, why you, like, for example, you say like people who are in relationships and they be like, oh, that person have a partner, so why would they need, when we hear that sometimes, why would I need to rape anybody? Because I could get girls, I don't need to rape anybody, I don't have a problem in that area. And it's like, but it's not about having a problem in that area, it's a control issue. You have a control issue. So I don't really see it as, oh yeah, like you could have sex anytime you want, or it's an issue for you, but what about having to take away somebody's autonomy or right to choose to engage in such an intimate act with you is appealing to you?
Which is what it is about. Are you into true crime?
SVU.
True. I mean, I guess some of the cases are true, but true crime, like docuseries.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Okay, so I watched a few of the tapes from serial killers who are sometimes too serial rapists on Netflix. So the tapes were also like Ted Bundy tapes, Confessions of a Killer, and other documentaries about them. And like
disturbing.
Let's call it, I don't know, this ain't even where I'm going. Let's call it attractive boys or whatever, because there's so many, like for Ted Bundy, for one, so many women showed up to his case in the courtroom because they thought he was so attractive and were like, somebody this attractive could not be capable of
Doing
the
those
things that he
things.
did.
Yep.
He had girlfriends during some of his
Ventures.
yeah. So it wasn't like there wasn't a source of affection, intimacy.
It just wasn't making sense.
But that's not what it was about.
No, it's not.
It was about the power and the control, which is also why, like, when people talk about sex workers, I'm always, like, eager to be like, by the way, sex workers also experience sexual assault because it's never about sex.
Yeah.
It's always about power and control. But anyways, backtrack, because I was responding to you, like, what you said about language, which was the first question, because we make a lot of jokes about sexual assault, about rape, about age, like anything after 12 is lunch, really concerning. There's that song, Shwa Me Swimming in a River, but afraid she only 15 years, very concerning. But especially the anything after 12 is lunch. The idea that, a no could be turned into a yes if you are persistent and if you just try, like the jokes that people make, the examples that people bring up in joking ways, these are all things that sustain,
perpetuate sexual violence.
Even though people, I guess, are thinking that they're saying them innocently. Can it ever be innocent?
No, it can't. It's not innocent at all. But I think that the question is, what is the driver behind that? Why is that the mindset? How did you arrive here? So that's why we go back to when I said rape culture is normalized, and it's the language and the socialization. Because if everybody's saying it, then why is wrong that I say? This is the type of culture I grew up in. This is what I hear. This is what is normal. This is what is accepted. So why? And nobody's gonna be like, oh, why would you say that? That's right. Nobody is going to get up and bash you for saying it, because it's what's normal in this society. People be more afraid to stand out and speak up for the right things. They probably be more afraid to say, because people be like, oh, wait, don't hush. Please, whatever, they start to call you different names and berate you, like punk and all them other things. So it's what's celebrated, rather.
You know what I find interesting? How people will call out some things and participate in other things. I mean, people are complex and complicated beings, right? So I understand there's some...
I don't even think it's a complexity. I just think it's cognitive dissonance. I feel like you might really love watching porn, but if people talking about porn around you, you'll be like, who does watch that? And whole time, you feel uncomfortable because you're somebody who binge watch it every day. But you can allow other people to know that about you. So a lot of things, I feel like a lot of things people might agree with in a social setting, they won't agree with if they're by themselves.
So you think it's just participating just for peer acceptance?
It's like people who, it's like the peer pressure of it all. Like, it's like you don't want to seem as other or be seen as other.
Like a buzzkill.
Yeah, or the buzzkill. And I think in our culture, what's something that I've noticed, especially growing up and going through high school and everything, you almost get made fun of for doing the positive things or not doing what everybody else is doing until it becomes cool and then it's accepted.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like a continuation of, like, you're still in high school, even though you're in the adult world, and it just perpetuating because we have a small community and everybody know everybody, and even elders know you, auntie, uncle, cousin, because they probably went school with your mother, and so it's just a cycle of different generations that learning the same things. Yeah.
That's definitely true. And I think I'm always surprised when I meet like people my age who still have certain beliefs. Sorry, I don't want that to come off as judgmental.
No.
But why I say that is like generally like if you consume international global media and so you kind of see where age groups are going, right? Like if you watch like US elections where certain demographics tend to be voting, the issues that they tend to be thinking about, TV, how TV is showing all kinds of people, all kinds of relationships, all kinds of everything now. So it's like that's for me, that's why I said like I find it surprising when I meet people in certain age groups who believe like the things that 60-something-year-olds might have been taught, because I'm always curious about like their sources of information.
Right.
Because if you are exposed to things beyond, St. Kitts Nevis, you'll like even if you don't believe it, you are aware of it. So I'm always intrigued.
You see, I'm the type of person I love doing research before I say on net or stuff. And I mean, it's not everybody, but I mean, honestly, if you really think about it, especially in our community, I know a lot of people that never really been far away from here, or even outside the region. Never been to America, they never been to Europe, they never been to South America. So a lot of people, like, haven't been that exposed to different cultures. And I think one of the main things that really opened up my mind, I used to think I was a very open-minded person before, but when you really go and you see how other people live and what's considered a norm in their society, and it's like it makes you really look at things differently. It opens up your perspective. It deepens like what you think is acceptable versus what's not acceptable. It's just having that exposure is so important, because you can't just have this one track mind. I know it's considered culture, but then sometimes you have to also think about what are we claiming as culture.
Yeah, and who does it serve, which is how we come back to patriarchy. But in addition to going out and seeing more, because that might not be an option for everybody, right? Like in people's lifetime, for whatever reason, they might not see another place, but we have books.
Yeah,
that's like the power of reading. Like reading shows you different, as you said, alternatives, options, different ways of living, better ways of existing, things that we never even thought possible, we can find in books too. So that's my little plug for us to read more.
It's giving the alternative a chance.
Yeah.
Not just being like, that's not normal to me, and I'm gonna just shut it out.
That's this people nonsense. However, you want to come and force this and this. Like, how dare you tell me not to bang up me?
It's the same way how with, like, people are with food and trying the restaurants. It's like, I want to try the food, but I don't want to spend the money to try it. But then it's like, oh, you're gonna try it. you can get the money back. Like, it's an experience.
Right.
And then you would have to decide. I don't like people decide and try things for me. Like, every time people could tell me this place was horrible, the food nasty, I can go still, because I don't know if I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you might have different metrics.
Exactly. I ain't got those 10 people taste buds. So I can't say, oh, well, the experience was all bad and 10 people can be wrong. 10 people could be wrong.
Yeah.
For real. And I think people just need to be not move so much with the majority and move more with what they want to do.
Right.
Do what you want.
Yeah. And think about, like, at a really basic level, does this make sense? Like, these things that we're pushing, these jokes that we're making, do they make sense? Or are they actually harmful to people? Are they actually funny? Because usually they don't be funny.
No.
They don't be based in any kind of version of reality, like the example that we were talking about. And I see people bring up those things a lot. Like, for example, I don't know if it. Well, I do hear it kind of continuing more, but last year and the year before, it was really coming up. This conversation about, like, should you split on the first date? Who should pay on the first date? A man said, if I pay for a woman, she had to XYZ when the date done, blah, 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 blah. It's just like...
Just because you buy me a chalupa don't mean you
but
entitled to
sometimes
my
it's
body.
a hot dog. No, it's a hot chalupa. I know it's a Mexican thing, right?
No, but like a taco for a taco.
Oh,
like,
okay. Say taco, yeah.
Like, man, I understand.
A
Like,
patty.
a patty.
But even if it was a surf and turf,
It don't
even
matter.
if it was something at Christoph Haber, like
Yeah.
it never matters.
It's
right?
not an
And
exchange of goods. It's not a bartering
no.
system.
And
Like,
that was never the conversation at the start.
mm-hmm.
It was never, I will only do this for you if you do this for me, which is, I think, always conveniently left out of the conversations. Because you might find somebody who is perfectly open
yeah.
to exchanging something
Yeah,
with
you don't even have to buy it.
They might even negotiate. They might
Yeah.
say, okay, actually, if you want me to do this, then you'll have to add this thing on instead, or get me this instead, or whatever it is, you know, like whatever people choose to do
Yeah.
consensually. I'm
But
good
it's
with it.
interesting you mentioned that because no, it comes back to when you asked, was it you said was it intentional? That's what you were saying,
Yeah.
or was it?
Well,
It was. I don't remember exactly what word you used, but you were saying something about, do you think the people know that it's wrong or something like that? Like what they're saying, do you think is ignorance? Or,
oh,
but no, you mentioned that you're saying, okay, to one person, the part of the conversation that's left out with a specific person, but they probably know the other individual who would be willing to add on and do those things. So why are you specifically targeting
that person.
that person?
Instead of going to where, you know, that kind of setup.
And you're leaving that information out
Yeah.
intentionally because is it because you know that this person would not be okay with this, but you're trying to see how far this person would let me go.
Yeah. And to what end? Because
To what end?
on my way here, I was talking to myself in the car, right? And I was, because it often comes up. It's like, and it's usually men talking about women, and it's like, I did this for her,
Yeah.
and she ain't do XYZ. I fly her out, and she didn't come in she lingerie, or she didn't want to do XYZ after I done spent $200 and put her up in this hotel, and blah, 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 blah. And in talking to myself, you know, I said that I think oftentimes, you know, you said, you know, that they often know too, like there is somebody that is out there that is perfectly okay
Yep.
with that setup. And I think it is that, like, we don't know the people ain't interested in us.
Yeah.
And so we respond by, like, trying out, I don't know if you want to
Different
call it.
tactics.
Yeah. To see which one they will latch on to. So then people will come talking about their house, they come tell you about their cat, they come tell you about how much money they make, how much assets they got,
Yeah.
this, in the hope that you will cave, that you will be, I don't know, dazzled, impressed, or whatever.
Sometimes it comes in the form of guilt tripping too.
Sometimes it's that, oftentimes it's that, like,
No, you're trying to make me feel bad.
yeah, I just did all of these things for you, and how you could, like, what kind of person does blah, 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 blah. And I think, too, like, sometimes they might try it, and it might work with somebody, so they think that it can work with everybody.
But then those
going
persons who
forward.
being preyed upon as well, they also have to educate and familiarize themselves with this information and rape culture and what different tactics are, what's being said, what's like, it's just familiarizing yourself, because I know somebody that didn't even know the word gaslight mean. So when the partner was gaslighting them and somebody asked them, well, you don't think your partner does gaslight you? And they're like, no, I don't think so. And they're like, you know what I mean? And I was like, no. And then when they look it up, they was like,
yeah,
wait,
this is exactly
that's exactly what's happening. So sometimes it's just that people don't know the terms and they don't know what is expected or what falls under the category. But once the educators of you bring it awareness to it like we are right now, and people actually listen, and it might spark some minds to go further, do research on rape culture and what that consists of and what to look out for and how to not perpetuate it. So
things we do, that make us part of it. Because I think that conversations, well, not like this one, but the ones that are happening with the people in relationship, trying to be in relationships or whatever, because we started out at the top of the show pointing out the fact that within relationships there also can be violence, including sexual violence, and when you talk about the guilt tripping, especially in long term, like not one night stand kind of relationships too, we're like, it becomes economic, financial violence, right? Like that idea that, and you see it a lot. I don't know how much do you watch on TikTok a lot?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, so it got quite a few people who were stay-at-home mothers who are now like, which is strange because it's like, as a people, we went through this before, so it's just interesting that we kind of hear at this space again, where it was like, that time where, I mean, talking about black women, because black women always worked.
Yeah.
But the time when some women were, could only be in the home, could not work, and then they advocated, fought against, worked towards their own right to work outside of the home. Now we have, people desiring the stay-at-home mother life, and so where the husband controls all of the finances. So when it's time to get out, you're getting out with nothing.
Right.
But before that, like it is I pay for everything, I control everything here. You buy what I say you could buy.
Right.
I approve what I want to approve. So it's, and I suppose like people would think, that's an okay way to be because they're paying, they're feeding you, they're clothing you, they're housing you, all of those things. Anyways, so yeah, digressing. Anyways, so we kind of talked about control and rape culture, but control is a huge part of rape culture, and it is especially this idea that and I was wondering about it, right? Because I feel like some people would not say that St. Kitts Nevis is a rape culture, because it's has a rape culture, because it's very different to other places where like, if you're sexually assaulted, you have to marry your rapist, then you dishonor the family, and like those things don't happen. But what does happen here, you're not believed.
Yeah.
People ask you why you was doing there, why you was wearing.
Victim
it's true
blaming.
Because you and him had a thing. This person would never do that. If you're a guy, I mean, male rape ain't even a thing in the law, right? But if you're a guy, people laugh
Yeah, they laugh.
at you.
And they wonder
people
how
yeah, like you
how
should
you
like
could
it.
let it happen, and
Yeah.
why you didn't like it. Like,
Yeah, and people also like if you have a bodily reaction to it, like if you are being assaulted and
Really?
you get an erection, people are like, oh well, this shouldn't happen if.
It's just a natural thing.
And the natural, I feel like, response is often to question the victim instead of believe the victim. And
It's just victim blaming, and that also is one of the elements that perpetuate rape culture for both men and women, because people talk about how men could be raped, but it's situations where men could get roofied and wake up and he don't know what happened to him, or he know he feel horrible. But people might not say issue with it. But hello, STDs exist.
Mm-hmm.
The person could be pregnant, and you don't even know you're impregnant. It's just so much different things, that unwanted things for that individual that could come out of an encounter, like an assault,
Yeah.
like that. Because that's what it is.
The trauma, the attack on your autonomy.
Yeah,
and-
like forget if you like it, what happened, what come
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the reality of teenage boys, especially, and
Oh,
the
gosh.
pressure that they feel to have sex with older
Older
women,
women.
because the older women is the ones who they'll be like, oh, come, let me introduce. Like, I have at least 2 guy people who tell me that, like, their first time having sex was with older people, and they haven't necessarily said, I was sexually assaulted, but
Sometimes they don't even see that.
the circumstances around it are a little
Sketchy.
questionable,
Yeah.
a little, there's some, not,
It's like what's not clicking. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, but I think, like I said, it's just what you're socialized to think. Sometimes it's really, I guess in that sense, it might be a little innocent, because from a guy perspective, it's like, oh yeah, like, you're the man, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But it's like, is it?
Yeah. And sometimes people do, like you said, you might not have the language to say what it was, but your body kind of knows that something ain't feel right. And I mean, going back to the things that sustain it, like the little innocent things that we're doing, like when we go dance, and so many adult women dancing on little boys. You see a woman in the party and she does shopping back, and you go and you decide, you must dance with her, and then you're on Facebook abusing and saying, why you coming in party for if you ain't want nobody walk up on you. There's so much that goes into maintaining this system that people don't think about, because they think it's just physical act, really, which kind of brings me to like this idea of the rape culture pyramid, which I told you is new to me. I was, in my doing research, found it, and it's kind of like the things that we're talking about but put together. So like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or other pyramids where you have the larger part down here, and so in this pyramid you have at the bottom things like attitudes and beliefs.
Okay.
And then you have things like normalization of violence, then you have removal of autonomy, and then you have the physical expression of it.
So it's like an escalation?
Yes. So rape, sexual assault isn't like the start of it, right? It is the jokes that we make, the things that we do on the street, the harassing that we do of people. One time, like a couple weeks ago, I went into a supermarket and they had some fellas there, and they were like, "Hi, miss, good morning," blah blah blah, kind of like interfering with me, but not really interfering with me. And I like to pretend like I'm oblivious, but I said good morning back for the sake of manners. When I came back out, one of them was like pressing like blah blah blah, and I was like, then I had to skin up my face, and then the other fellas were like, see what you're doing. I was like, I love this moment, because the rest guys was like, we said good morning, she responded, that's all, like ain't had to go no further, like ain't had to be nothing else. No, look, and you don't often see that, like men shunning talking to other men, and I loved it in that moment, and we need more of that.
I don't know where the men at.
It was just a regular outside a supermarket experience. So it's like possible for everybody.
Well, I'm happy that you had that experience.
It's possible for everybody, but we need more of that. Like we need more of people challenging the jokes, the seemingly innocent things, the things that people think are innocent. Sometimes you do things with somebody, or you do things to somebody that you think are a joke, that they don't find funny, and you persist instead of stopping, apologizing, whatever it is. So anyways, so that is the pyramid, and the physical act is at the top. The smallest part, just really the manifestation of a long line of things that people are socialized to believe from small, because we also socialized to think that we are entitled to other people's bodies. We don't respect like personal space, boundaries, or understand that you can't just go around touching people. That starts in the home, because our parents don't feel like they could just touch us. We ain't talking about like a baby who need their pamper changed. We're talking about you telling the child they have to hug somebody they want to hug, or they have to sit down in this person's lap, or this and this and this. Like,
I wasn't doing none of that.
You say you wasn't doing none of that?
No, I didn't care what they tell me must do. If me want
you wasn't kissing doing nobody?
It. No, when you sit in nobody's lap, I ain't hugging you. You be lucky if you get a hug from me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why I need to do this?
And that's what I do with my little cousin. Like, I'll be like, can I have a hug? And if he want to give me a hug, I'll be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
No big deal. It's
Children
fine.
are very aware themselves, you know.
Yeah, and they don't know the people who weird.
Yes, they project. They project. People like to project certain things onto children, like their ideas and beliefs about what. Because even people talk to babies in a baby voice and stuff, I be like, it's actually not good. No. No, it's not good.
Okay, when you say baby voice, you mean cuckoo gaga, or you mean baby words, or you mean using a baby voice?
Just in general, with babies and little children, you're not really supposed to speak to them like they're supposed to speak to them normally, because it actually helps with their speech.
Really? Because the research on Miss Rachel.
Oh my gosh.
Something different.
No, I don't mean like in. Like, I know how Miss Rachel
like that kind of animated.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. Like, if you talk to them normal, you'd actually be surprised of how much their speech develop and how well they speak at an early age, because they actually learning the words, how to pronounce them properly. They won't speak like whiny all the time. Like, it really, because I've seen that with my little cousin. Like, she even started to teach him sign language because he couldn't communicate at the time, but he was able to know, like, this means I want water, I'm hungry, like with sign language. Children really smart because their brain's so flexible at that young age, like they're a sponge at that point. So people shouldn't underestimate that.
Us having a difference of opinion.
No, literally.
And something
after,
totally unrelated.
After, let's go back.
Totally
we went on a side quest. Let's come back.
Totally, that's so funny. Okay. So, yeah, we've talked about language. We've talked about a bunch of other things. Jokes that sustain rape culture, and how it's connected to patriarchy.
The irony of rape culture, though. You're not, as a woman, you're not supposed to come off cold and stiff. But on the other end, men supposed to be pressured to get through with women. But if you more open, there you live as promiscuous and all kind of stuff, and then if you're promiscuous, then people assume that only promiscuous women does get raped because they're the ones putting themselves out there, or they can't be raped because that's their job if they're like sex workers. But I'm like, so when you're calling women all types of W's and H's, on the other end, who is the same people you're celebrating to try and get rid of as much women as possible? You're trying to, boys will be boys, men supposed to score, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it kind of...
Yeah. Well, there is that idea of the perfect victim, which is why I think some people don't even bother to report. And which is why... Are we talking historically and up to now, right? If somebody is in a position of power, especially a position of power over you, and you are their worker, and when I say historically, I'm talking about like enslaved women and their enslavers
Is
on
a
plantation.
power distance
Yeah,
thing.
we're talking about you, a little young person in the church versus the pastor. You, a person who
A teacher.
needs financial help. And a person, somebody who is your teacher, who at the end of the semester or term going to mark your grades that you feel like will determine the rest of
whether it's
your
a teacher
life.
in school or a teacher in extracurricular activities.
Whatever it is.
Somebody.
Especially if there are those power dynamics and power differentials. That perfect victim
Yeah.
is like,
It's really sad though.
yeah, it's really unfortunate that we continue to have ideas about who victims are and who perpetrators are, because those ideas are seriously flawed. Like in every way that we think about them, whether we think about gender, whether we think about class, whether we think about beauty, race, this, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're seriously
Or if the
flawed.
person got more money.
Yeah, than you.
That's another power
Yeah.
dynamic or differential. Like,
the person come from a good
family.
and you...
They could give you opportunity.
Yeah, you got your single mother, who, you know what they say about single mothers, and your mother got 6 more children to look about.
Yeah.
And it's just...
But it's the same way we were saying that people think that it's usually a stranger, but
Yeah.
it's somebody you know. Usually, 9 times out of 10, it's somebody you know.
And sometimes somebody that you're close to.
Somebody is very close to.
Sometimes somebody that you were previously having sex with, like, that is also a very real thing that happens too. So, which is why, you know, some countries in their sexual assault revision laws had to put in things to be like, previous sex with the person cannot be part of the defense's arguments, because people would come and be like,
Yeah.
didn't you
Yeah.
with this person? So no, those things.
And marriage.
Yeah, no, those things have, and the idea that you have to be separated.
But
for
our
it to
law
count.
doesn't even currently, I think, distinctly define.
Our law is grossly
needs to be updated
vague
and vague. Yes.
and yeah, it doesn't talk about a lot of things.
Yeah, it doesn't it doesn't even really specify rape.
Right.
It's
So,
in there. It says it has the word,
Yeah, but
it
really
doesn't
define it.
break. No, have a explicit definition,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mention marriage.
Yeah.
Well,
Actually,
marital rape. Sorry.
I think it is somewhere. I don't know where, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it is somewhere, because I remember learning that from a lawyer. So I think it is somewhere. I'm not
I'm gonna
sure.
have to look because
I'm not
because when
sure.
I was reading it, I didn't see it. Maybe I don't think.
Yeah, but what the law was I wouldn't want to say it for yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we know what the law is. But I think you know, I can't say that. I don't know why.
And then it's whether it's enforced or not.
Yeah,
So
and who you meet,
there's
and
layers to it.
all those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we've talked about a bunch
A bunch of
of
things.
things. Just to remind you, rape culture. The definition you gave is essentially the same. So, but I just gonna read out what I found online. A society or environment whose prevailing social attitudes have the effect of normalizing or trivializing sexual assault and abuse. And yeah, I think, as I said earlier, you know, we might question whether or not this applies to us, because I think most people, when they hear about a rape or a sexual assault, it's like generally something that we can agree it's something that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But I think is when they get into the details, is when it starts to be like, I'm not sure, blah, 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 blah. I also found, I'll find that kind of going back to the perfect victim, but like the different treatment that different cases get. So, and this is also even in the law. I was reading, I think, some of the sentencing guidelines where it was like, if it's somebody under a certain age or above a certain age, then it's like, oh, it's really terrible. But the people in the middle kind of like, it's not so much.
Yeah.
I think so many interesting ways to think about it in law, which is oftentimes different to how we think about it in like the gender space, probably the psychology, sociology space and stuff. So I hope that the law can catch up.
Yeah.
Anyways,
this is our only hope.
Yeah, final words about rape culture and its connection to patriarchy, or just rape culture in general. I said final words. We're at 9 o'clock.
Girl, final words. I didn't come in the capacity of a gender officer tonight, but shameless plug. Our International Women's Day Award nominations have launched on our Department of Gender Affairs Facebook page. If you have Facebook, just look for Department of Gender Affairs St. Kitts. Or the link for it is tiny, that's TINYURL.com/. I don't remember the other half. But you'll find it on our page.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing. But it's the tiny URL one. You should see it right in our bio, which leads to our Gender SK Hub. So the /Gender SK Hub for sure for that. And then IWDNOM 2026. Like, I just have so much in my head. But yes, please nominate an outstanding woman in this year's categories that fall into youth, mentorship, healthcare, social services, culture, economic empowerment, trades, entrepreneurship, a bunch of great things, public service and governance. So if you know anybody who fall in those fields and they have, a long tenure in those areas, please nominate them.
Cool. I don't know if I should
Oh.
anything about this now. Yeah, good work that y'all are doing, and yeah, please nominate. International Men's Day is in November for anybody listening.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, well, men. It's in November.
Yes, it's in November.
19. Y'all still get that?
No, I don't get it, but I think it happens. It
has begotten.
It gets got. So, but I don't get it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Men's Day is in November, and this isn't a competition or fight. We have to work together to address all of these issues that affect all of us, because all of us are affected by the big P word, patriarchy, and by rape culture. We all participate in sustaining it. Sorry, y'all, I have a little stiff neck. That's why you see me moving around so uncomfortably. We all participate in different ways in sustaining it. As much as we might not have, in the news every day, cases about sexual assault, it does happen here. I think most cases will never make it to the news.
No.
So it doesn't mean that it's not happening. Once we have not actively worked towards eradicating something, it's not eradicated. Like, they ain't gonna disappear just overnight through anything. Like, we have to work, like, step by step, word by word, song by song, joke by joke, friend by friend, family member by family member, everybody working together
to
address and remove rape culture. Like, we can be a society that is safe for everybody. Like, that's possible.
I mean, things trending every day, so why we can't make the positive things trend?
Like, like those certain things, violence does not have to happen. Violence is not inevitable. It is not our default. It might be in, our history, but it doesn't have to be in our future.
Yeah.
Right? So it takes deliberate and intentional work to address all forms of violence, and we could start, I think, especially with our language.
I think it down to the educational level. I think everybody should be more exposed to sociology.
Yeah.
At some point.
I mean, they teach us social studies.
There's some.
But it's not really sociology. But it could work. It could be worked in.
Yeah, it should be. I think it should be worked in. It's
Yeah.
my opinion. It should be worked in and should be more of a core component that people should be taught more about because it's all around us. It's sociology.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but we can only hope.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, we could start it. Gender could go and be like, we want to teach sociology in schools, and it could be. A lot of these things don't even have to be like, no, you meet 3 times a week for 1 hour each time. It's oftentimes like little lessons in existing curriculum that are
it don't have
curriculum.
to be like a whole separate thing.
Subject,
it could be incorporated
Right.
into something else, but
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, and I think especially teaching about, well, they call it SEL, social emotional learning about boundaries, learning about how to live with people, learning about what you're like, what?
Question.
Learning about how to be kind.
That's what above my head right now, because I don't even know what that is.
Oh, yeah, that's what I call it. Learning how to be empathetic.
Really?
Empathic.
Like,
Yeah. Kindness, honesty, living with people, conflict resolution.
they teach that?
SEL.
Really?
Social
Is it being?
emotional.
Is it actually
Well,
being
it's
delivered?
supposed to be not like a subject by itself.
Okay.
I'm not sure where it is incorporated, but it's supposed
to be?
be, I think, yeah. And
A poll should be done.
yeah, so they're learning how to play with each other. Just learning how to exist around other human beings, but especially like conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, things like that. And all of those things, because you don't do well to teach about violence ain't to just teach about violence. It's to teach about all those other things that if they are missing can lead to violence, right?
Yeah, because it's nice in theory, but realistically, what's really going on? Yeah.
And what is the alternative to hitting somebody over the head if they upset you? Like, you do need to know what my options are here, right? So let's expose people to the alternatives, to the options. And like I said, you can find them in books. You can find them in exposing yourselves to other cultures, to seeing what else exists out there, and using the good to improve our own culture. Anyways, thank you for joining me for another conversation. Thanks again, Trinaya, for accepting my late invitation to come and talk about this. Of course, as you said, to go and do your own research.
I was actually right. I know I had a brain fat earlier, but it actually did. I was actually right. It's tinyurl.com /IWDNOM 2026. So I was right. It came back to me.
I mean, you gave a whole link, so I was like, you must be correct.
No, because I just have so much of them in my head. I was like,
so many tiny URLs.
Yeah, so many tiny URLs. Too many. So.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. And yeah, please do, think about the ways that you ain't even aware that you might be sustaining something.
Yes.
If you are a person with a penis, if you're a man, talk to the women in your lives, because you might be saying things all these years that people find uncomfortable and never
And it's
said
really
anything
important for
about?
the men to do this because I think it would be an even bigger driver of the change.
Yeah.
So, because women could do it all day long, and if the men ain't agreeing with it, then they ain't really gonna get nowhere.
Perpetrators have to, not to say that men are the only perpetrators, but men are the majority of the perpetrators. Sorry, just the facts. So we need you.
Yes, we really do. We need the
Stop-
support
well,
of the men.
to stop perpetrating one,
Mhm.
but also to work towards eradicating, the violence that exists.
Yes, let's be allies.
Okay, I will see you all next Tuesday as usual. Have a pleasurable evening and keep thinking and keep talking. Yeah.
Bye.